Welcome in to another edition of the Game Time TBA podcast where we talk college football, college sports overall. Got a big weekend ahead. It's the end. The regular season of college football has officially come to a close. And now we're heading into championship weekend. I'm your host, Bryant Graham. Our other host, Troy Marcus, is with us as well. How you feeling, man?
Man, doing great. I know I took a little bit of a hiatus from the show. Had a wife and I welcomed a baby girl, so happy to be back on the show, man. But yeah, what a whirlwind past few weeks.
Yeah, congrats, man. Um, Glad to have you back on. Glad to get back and talk some ball with you, man, as we get into the playoff push. But
Perfect timing, man. Conference title weekend.
yeah, so this episode we're going to talk about the Big Ten championship, and then we're going to get into the Big 12 and maybe a couple other picks on some games as well. But we're going to open up with the Big Ten championship, man. Number one, Ohio State versus number two, Indiana. It's the first 1-2 matchup since 2009, Alabama, Florida. Tim Tebow and Greg McElroy, Mark Ingram. Gosh, I can't believe it's been
Wow.
that long since a 1-2 conference matchup, but it should be an exciting one.
Yeah, that's awesome. I guess getting rid of divisions, we might have a little bit more of that. So now that's going to be a great game, man. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, and I'll kind of piggyback off anything you got.
Yeah, I mean, this game, different than a couple other ones. This one involves a couple teams that haven't played this year. We saw, the kind of what that matchup was last year. Ohio State just too talented for that Indiana team that,
Yeah.
had a good run last year. But with Fernando Mendoza, this team obviously going into Eugene, getting that huge win over Oregon, and honestly in a dominating fashion. I mean, this team is legit.
Yep.
They are one of the top defenses as well as one of the top offenses, especially in passing. But the same goes for Ohio State, man. I mean, this is a huge matchup. I mean, two top defenses, two top offenses, and two quarterbacks that are going for the Heisman Trophy. Honestly, it's probably one of those games where whoever wins the game is probably going to be the front runner to win the Heisman the following week. It's kind of kind of one of those crazy matchups, man. But but yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing in this game is Ohio State has the number one overall defense, and for Indiana, like I said, they've got the number four overall defense. But one thing I think about that I think is going to be important in this matchup is Indiana, although they Fernando Mendoza is a Heisman front runner. They love to throw the ball around. It's really the run game that gets it set up for them. They're number 12 in rushing offense. Comparatively, Ohio State's kind of in the lower sector. I think they are 53rd in rushing, so a little bit better than when you compare to like an Alabama. But they are one of those teams that's not necessarily super effective running the football. But
Mhm.
anyways, the thing with Indiana is they do like to do that to set the pass up. And
Yep.
are they going to be able to do that with this Ohio State run defense? What do you
That's
think about that?
that's the key, man. This Ohio State defense, and even the Ohio State team in general, I feel like it's kind of been. I don't want to say coasting because that makes it that like I don't want it to be insulting. They've been the most consistent, the most steady, the most dominant from week one to now. So I don't want to use coasting in that sense. But you brought up their defense. I mean, when Jim Knowles left to go to Penn State and they hired Matt Patricia, we all I don't know about you. I was like, has was he even coaching? I don't know. He might have even been out of ball. I can't remember, but
Yeah,
what he's done to that defense, and I know you'll have the haters that say, well, hell, I could call defense if I had Arvil Reese and Caleb Downs. I mean, I could probably figure it out, but no. Well, what that defense has done this year has been extremely impressive. Uh, like I said, it's been pretty dominant the entire season. You've got the likely number one overall pick in Arvil Reese on that defense, along with Caleb Downs. I think it's going to be a tough sledding for Indiana. I do think that Indiana will have success. Mendoza's too good of a player to be completely shut down. Signetti's too good. Signetti will have that team scrappy and ready to go. If there was one coach who could talk enough trash to get his team fired up to go play Ohio State. And I think Signetti even said it today that Ohio State hasn't been tested all year. So,
yeah,
you know, you're talking big game. You're going to get your shot at the king right now. So I'm really, really super excited about it. But yeah, like you said, the Ohio State defense, I think they're going to be up to the challenge. I think this is going to be a game. I think early on, you're going to see some feeling out. You're going to have, what works, what doesn't work. And then as the game settles in, I think you're going to start to see good on good, because as good and talented as Ohio State is, I don't think you're going to completely shut down Fernando Mendoza for an entire game.
Yeah, and contrary to Ohio State, I mean, Ohio State has been tested obviously with Texas early in the year. Obviously Texas went through some
Yeah.
troubling times, but I mean, they're a talented, good football team, as we saw them close out. And in Michigan at the back end of the year. So I mean, it was really their first game and last game. Yeah, you had a couple with like an Illinois, Penn State's a
Hmm.
good roster, and you had a good
Yeah.
performance. So you got to at least give a little credit there. But really, it was the front end of the back end of the schedule. But I don't think Ohio State's been tested with an offense like Indiana had.
That's
They've
fair.
put some really good defenses, um, like all those teams I mentioned, but they have not faced an offense near as well as Indiana's. And there's not many out there that
No,
compared to them, but it's going to be a big challenge. And obviously they've got the defense for it, but I am interested to see. I think, like you said, you're not going to be able to just stop Fernando Mendoza. And same goes for Ohio State. I mean, but the thing is that with that run game, if Indiana is able to stop the run, is how's Julian Sayin going to respond from that end? And he hasn't really been tested, um, maybe down 10 or anything like that in
right.
a game. And the one probably one of the tougher defenses that they faced early in the year, Texas. Honestly, he didn't have that great of a game. They only won
No,
14-7. So I mean, I obviously they got talent. They got two of the best receivers in the country, probably the best overall receiving staff.
for
But
sure.
so they're going to be able to. They got some playmakers, but you know, I don't think it's just clear cut that they're going to just score a bunch of points, and Indiana might be able to stop them.
No, and going back to Julian saying, I mean, I think the game with Michigan last weekend, I mean, they got popped in that first quarter. I mean, Michigan went down field goal, saying the interception, I believe, on the following drive.
Hmm.
Um, Michigan just didn't have the offense, I think, to stretch that thing to make it 14-0 in the first quarter, or even 10-0. And so, you mean, who knows if you don't want to come out, behind the gates and give up a quick score to Indiana, then throw, turnover and give the ball right back to Mendoza, because they will make you pay for it. And if, like you said, if you go down, if we look and it's 10-0 at the end of the first quarter, and Ohio State has a turnover and a three and out, a lot of football to be played, but game pressure is a real thing. It exists in all sports. So I think we're in for a good football game. I'm with you. I don't anticipate blowout. I don't anticipate turning this one off in the third quarter. I'm going to give Indiana a lot of credit, like you said. I know last year everybody made fun of them, but going to Eugene and beating Oregon, I don't care what you say, is impressive. They need a lot of credit for that. And even the games, 24-20 win over Penn State in Happy Valley.
Yeah,
The year did not go like Penn State, like we all thought it would, but very talented roster, has a lot of guys that'll play in the NFL, come from behind, game-winning drive. You have to have games like that, and Indiana has. And you've been tested, you learn a lot about yourself. And so if you get down in a big game like this, you're not going to flinch. Superior opponent, but hey, we've been here before. So I think Indiana they've just fully adopted Signetti's DNA. Um,
hmm,
big road wins this year, but if we're just going to go ahead and spoiler alert, get to the pick, I
hmm.
do think I'm going to go with the Buckeyes -4. I think they're a 4.5 point favorite right now. So I expect a good competitive game all the way around. But we talked a lot about Ohio State's defense, but man, I just feel there's a big Jeremiah Smith play in the second half that's going to put this game away. Give me the Buckeyes. I don't have a score for you, but Buckeyes win and cover.
I am going to go with you as well. I think it's going to be really close. Indiana may even have an early lead. I think
Yep,
the Buckeyes are going to squeak out a cover 27-20.
like that.
I think it's going to be tied probably going into halftime. I just think,
Hmm.
like you said, I think there's going to be a couple plays late. They're going to push the Buckeyes over 27-20.
Could be a big Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate touchdown, and then Ohio State's defense, gets maybe a strip sack fumble. I think it'll be a quick turn. It'll be like within a couple of minutes, Ohio State ends the game. But yeah, competitive all the way around. But give me the Buckeyes to be the Big Ten champs this year.
Sir, excited for that one.
Yeah, man. 8 p.m. Right,
Yes,
8 p.m. Eastern.
8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central.
Perfect. We got to get better at that. I know on our previous episodes I've said times and you're on Central Time. I've got to be better about Eastern Time.
No worries. But another game, early kick that we're going to get into is the Big 12 championship, a rematch from a little bit, not early in the season, early November. You got BYU and Texas Tech, a rematch of a splattering that Texas Tech put on them in November.
Yeah, and that game was in Lubbock, right? So I don't remember the receiver, but I remember a receiver for BYU, I believe, after the game said that they were going to see him again and they were going to beat him this time around. So you said that in November. It's played out that way, and now you're going to get another shot at Texas Tech, who, I mean, has there been? I mean, they had the loss to Arizona State, but for the most part, has kind of run through the Big 12 this
Yeah.
year.
Let me get back a quarterback in that game.
They did. I don't think
Yeah.
Morton played. So, uh, Arlington, here we go, 12 o'clock Eastern, Big 12 championship. With BYU, how much of, we've seen so much about Sataki being a candidate for Penn State, and we kind of all thought that, we had kind of heard reports that was going to be their guy. He announces to the team, I'm staying, I'm committed. I do think the factor of, you know, being able to present to your team, hey, I'm not going anywhere before we get ready to play for a conference championship and a playoff spot. There will be a lot of motivation. There will be some good energy as they come
Yeah.
into that football game. And I love Bear. I love Bear Bachmeyer, their quarterback. He's awesome. Love what BYU's done this year. But, I mean, I'll go ahead and do my pick right now, and we can get into the reasons. But I'm going to go Texas Tech. Win and cover. It was 29-7 last time, and I think it could have been a little bit worse, but that Texas Tech front seven is as good as any front seven in the entire country up to this point. That includes Ohio State, Jacob Rodriguez. I know there's a Heisman movement for him at linebacker.
Yeah.
He's caught a touchdown, thrown it. He sacks the quarterback. He picks the ball off. I just want him to kick a field goal, an extra point, do something like that. But, spoiler alert, I'm going to go with the Red Raiders.
Yeah, and it's what, 12 and a half
12
points.
and a half. Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest thing for me looking at this game, I mean, again, but two quality teams, BYU. I mean, you know, if they get things right, I mean, they do have a chance. If Bears on fire, but I mean, again, looking at the statistics, they're 76 in passing, 23rd in rushing. They like to run the football. Bears a
Yeah.
big guy, not a traditional number. I mean, he just looks like one of those football
It's
players.
awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it. I
Yeah,
love
me
it.
too.
But it's a run first offense, and Texas Tech is the number one rushing defense in the entire country.
Yeah.
And I mean, you just saw what that led to last time. Yeah, I mean, of course it was at Texas Tech, but they were just not able to move the football because Texas Tech's front was just way too good. It just BYU just doesn't have the players up front to compete with that. I mean, Texas Tech has an SEC defense. For
No
people that
doubt.
aren't aware, yeah, they're in the Big 12. They spend a lot of money in the portal and in recruiting. I mean, it's another one of those Texas schools. They have an SEC Big 10 quality
No doubt.
um, team, but especially on defense. And I just think that's the story of the game. That's what happened last time.
Yep.
Maybe they connect on a few plays this time, but it's just the way that the BYU likes to run the football. It's just you're not going to be able to do it consistently. And I'm going to go with you. I think that they're going to cover. I've got um, 31-13 Texas Tech.
Yeah, so pretty similar to the last go around. I'm with you. The Texas Tech defense, David Bailey on the edge, that front seven. It's not a good recipe. If you're a run first team, you can't run it. As great as Bear Bachmeyer is, if you're living in 3rd and 7 and 3rd and 8, and you're just going to give Texas Tech the ability to dial it up and come get you when they know what you're doing, it's going to be a tough day. But I don't know. Maybe BYU's got something up their sleeve. Maybe we see an onside kick. Maybe we see a fake field goal, a fake punt. But heck of a year for it's been a great year for BYU, and I totally understand their argument for feeling like they deserve to be in the playoff regardless of the outcome. But here, like we've kind of talked about it, you're going to get your shot. You beat Texas Tech, you're in the playoff. So treat the game that importantly. You called them out after the game, wanting to see them again. You've got it now. Let it rip. Your coach is committed to you. So let's go
Yeah.
out there and let it rip, man. But yeah, I think I'm going to go Red Raiders. But I don't expect 31-13, but I don't. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. And one note that we can kind of talk about, off of necessarily the game topic. If BYU gets another splattering, we open the doomsday scenario of you know, obviously you got Notre Dame at 10, you got BYU at 11, Miami at 12. What is the committee going to do if BYU say goes and loses 42-14, you lost two straight times, blowouts? Is maybe that a situation where the committee backtracks BYU a little bit, and then you have that Miami Notre Dame tandem?
My
What's your
goodness.
take on that?
I mean, if it comes down to Miami and Notre Dame side by side for the last spot, you would think it would be a no brainer. It's got to be Miami, right? I mean, why are we playing the games at that point? So that would be my take. But if you told me, hey, they just put Notre Dame and Miami was the first team out, that I would laugh and feel horrible for Miami fans. But it wouldn't shock me with this committee. But I don't know if you've seen it, but Diego Pavia, Vanderbilt's ready to play anyone. How insane would Texas versus Notre Dame and Vanderbilt versus Miami this weekend for play-in games be?
So that
I
would be
mean, that would
that'd
be
be fun.
amazing. Yeah,
That would
yeah.
be something to
So
think about.
that would be amazing. There'd be more interest in those games than even some of these conference title games. So yeah, I think that's the doomsday scenario. But look, this committee, they're going to pray it works out, and they're going to do everything they can to not have to make difficult decisions. So
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
we'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
they're big Texas Tech fans. Yeah,
Big Texas Tech fans.
yeah.
We got a couple other games. We're excited for Friday night. You got a little Tulane North Texas action. The winner more than likely is going to be in the college football playoff, regardless of what happens with Duke. If Duke beats Virginia, it kind of opens the door for a James
Hmm.
Madison. So there'll be some interesting play there. We'll see, unless Troy pulls the upset, and then you got a whole lot of chaos.
Yeah,
But it is kind of cool that you get to the open the weekend off tomorrow with a North Texas Tulane little American action to kind of get in the playoff.
it is amazing. And both teams with their coaches already accepting other jobs. Summerall's taking the Florida job and Morris is taking the Oklahoma State job. So I know they both stayed committed to their teams. It was funny. John Summerall was wearing Florida gear on Wednesday for signing day, and then did his Tulane press conference. He did his press conference in New Orleans in his Tulane gear on Thursday. So respect to those guys for sticking it out. But
Yeah,
yeah, heck of a Friday night football. Don't let anybody ever complain or minimize any sort of football that we have. But certainly excited about that one.
yeah. Well, cool guys. We're gonna get into the we're gonna have a separate video for the SEC championship. So check that out and give us a like, subscribe, and comment. Comment your scores on the games and your predictions.
Do what he said.
Catch us on the next video.